Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Ask Pav. This will be another Route 66 inspired version thanks to the questions posted on my Facebook page. And if you've not got involved, if you've not liked it yet, head to facebook.com/PavBrian or search for Pav Brian's Route 66 World Record Ride. We're going to jump straight in, and I've got some great questions today, so thank you everybody. Anyone that has any questions can leave them in the comments. And this one is from Joe. It says, are you worried about the heat through the desert regions? Yes, very much so. I spent a summer here in Sacramento in California last year, and I think the hottest ride I went for was almost 110 degrees Fahrenheit, which is well into the 40s in Celsius. And that's painful. That's really hard. You don't last long. And it's about managing that. So one of the great things that I've done in the last few years was take a sweat test from Precision Hydration. It's just precisionhydration.com. They do two tests. They do one which is a questionnaire on their website, and another which is a non-exercise inducive electrode. They put it on your arm and collect a load of sweat, a sweat sample from you, and then analyse it. And there was 4 of us who were being tested at our little group event that we had going on. And the combined result of the other 3 people, me being the 4th, was only marginally more in terms of volume of sweat and quantity of sodium in their sweat than mine. So based on that, I know that I'm a heavy sweater, again, both in volume of sweat or fluid lost and the quantity of sodium. And from that, understand that when I'm going to sweat more, or when I need my body to be sweating more, for example in the heat, I know that I'm going to need to supplement that with additional water and more sodium, more so than most people riding around. So armed with that information, I can then get their strongest concentrated electrolyte mix. Another great feature about Precision Hydration, as far as I'm aware, they're the only people that have different quantities of sodium in their electrolyte mixes. So that becomes really useful because not everybody's the same, as I've just said, and you need to treat yourself individually. So there'll be how I deal with like what's going on the inside. If you want to try that out, head to their website, use the code PAV15 to get your discount. And one of the other things that I happened by chance to come across that last year was a meeting with my now good friend David Carosa of Spruza Mist Device. You may have seen it on GCN recently. Its one flaw is that it doesn't look the best. I'll be honest, I'll put it out there. But once you get past that, it's an incredible device. And what it does is it has a little like container or a bead of water, and you just spray it on your face. Simple. It's a simple yet incredibly effective device. I know that pros like Evan Huffman of Rally Team over here already swear by it, and I think that it's incredible. And from that, we've developed a hot weather package. You can get some of the training plans on my store, and we're taking work that's already been done for years. We've known about this. Really, it's alarming, like how little it gets discussed in terms of coaching and planning your training, especially when you compare it to altitude, which in reality is a heck of a lot harder to simulate than heat, and where we actually go. So you think about a time, especially my UK followers, where you've trained in like our average summer temperature might be sort of high teens into the 20s, and then you go to the continent or elsewhere and you ride around in the low mid 30s, and you've not allowed your body to adapt, and you have a terrible time and a horrible time. I mean, I've been there at the Maratona, and you suffer incredibly. So we've taken a lot of science and we've tested it a lot, and we've created a very almost ready to go package which solves an awful lot of problems like that. So watch this space, and I'll make sure to keep you informed of that. And to answer the question, yes, I am worried, but I know I'll be fine because I know I'm taking a lot of experience and a lot of science into that. Okay, a great question from Glyn coming up next. What is the best way to train for that distance when you're a casual rider, not a cycling god? Thanks for that comparison. Not sure I deserve it, but to help you through this one, I would like you to sort of think about the problem being less to do with the amount of time you've got and what you need to achieve. So yeah, okay, if you've got a full-time job and a family, you're probably not having enough time to ride 40 hours around a week. So for you to be able to train for something like what I'm doing, a multi-day event with a lot of riding back to back, if you've either got to take some time out of work to do that, or you've got to find another way. Now that might look like fudging your training so that you have you forcing your body to adapt in different ways. So rather than you going out and doing one really long ride in one day and then trying to recover for the next day, and that being about where you're getting that adaptation from, why don't you try doing shorter, more intense sessions throughout the day? So that could be like a morning and an evening session, which are fairly intense, and with that smaller gap, trying to recover, your body should get a bit better. Now you need to make sure you're recovering outside of that. So you might start to see some recovery where you start to feel a bit better, but if it starts to slow your recovery down, that's when you need to take that easier week and allow that adaptation to actually occur, because as we know, your gains don't come from training, they come from recovering. But when you're trying to force that recovery to be quicker, you need to obviously be a bit tired when you're doing the sessions. So that could then help your body learn to recover quicker. What you will need to do is obviously have one ride a week, at least one, that replicates that sort of distance that you've got to be on, because everybody knows, we all know that if you were somebody that's new to cycling and you can ride 10-20 miles, which is fantastic when you're first starting out, and you enter something like the Prudential Ride London, 100 miles, you're not realistically and probably not safely going to go from doing your 10-20 miles to 100 miles without bridging that gap. And it's going to be exactly the same for riding day in, day out in the saddle. You need to be able to ride at least one day of that duration. So hopefully that answers your question. You should be able to maybe fudge in 2 sessions. You could do commutes in your day in your work, 2 harder sessions, the longer ride. Hopefully your body then is starting to be like, oh, we've got to sort of force that adaptation, and then there you go. So hopefully that answers your question, Glyn. If not, please leave me a comment and I will expand on that next time. Okay, good one from my friend Stephen. What phase of training am I currently in? Okay, so we would describe my training as reverse periodization, in that what typically looks like base training is actually closer to my event, and what looked like power building training has already sort of passed. Obviously, the whole point of reverse periodization in some respects is that you've got your event, and it's not like, and for me it's a very like basey type event. So I'm not going to do the typical do all my long hours and then move into power, because what might happen is, well, my body's going to get more used to doing the powerful efforts, and potentially forget a little bit what like riding long hours is like. And the whole idea about training is that you need to make it more specific the closer you get to your event. So for me, we had to get the power building out of the way, which suited me very well because I'd had 9 months off the bike. I had almost starting from a clean slate and had been very ill. So shorter sessions suited me really well, building that power up based around where I currently was, to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm happy here. There's not much need to boost these anymore. I can train like 6 days a week again. And then it was like, well, we need to start building up those longer rides. So that's where we're at now. This week, 2 metric centuries back to back already done, and 2 imperial centuries this weekend. So never done that before, and looking forward to that test. Feeling pretty good, and I did. And this is my first rest day this week. So yeah, I don't see why that's not working, and we've just got to continue to progress that. So phase of training, we're definitely moving into the pre-competition, or we're in the pre-competition phase, which you might call build phase, even though it looks like basic. Hope that makes sense. Again, let me know if not. And final question this time, again from a good friend Adrian, who asks me, will I be doing the ride on my TT bike? Yes, I initially went in with this and was like, yep, TT bike, before I had done any research. Literally had the idea, and I was like, that's the fastest way to do it. Ram does it, Race Across America, competitors do it, fastest way possible. And then you read the stories, you read the experiences, and you check out some of the pictures people have posted about Route 66. It's not pretty. I mean, some of the stories about the holes in the road, like not just potholes, but like the stretch of it. You wouldn't do it on a TT bike. If you tried, you'd probably end up with some sort of injury. I'm not going to do it. Some people even commented that they jumped the fence and rode in the interstate rather than riding the frontage road, which is Route 66 now, since it's been repurposed. So yeah, my good friend Will at Albert Sand Cycles has sorted me out to Trek Domani. We're going to pair that with the wheels from Z Bikes from Lee. Thank you for those guys, and that will be my ride for the event, and that's it. So again, thank you for watching. Leaves me to obviously remind you that this is all for awareness and raising some money for 2 amazing charities, Mind in the UK, NAMI in the US. And the work that they do not only supports people like myself, or people less fortunate like me who haven't been able to find that mental stability. And they support them, and they support the people that support them too. So there's a lot of programs, and you might have seen one of my videos where I interviewed my fiance Noelle, and that was all about what she has to sort of put up with in some respects. And again, like, it's always a light-hearted view. There's people out there that have it far worse than me, and that's why I'm doing this, because I know that I've managed to find a way that works for me. It's not perfect, but it's better, and there's people out there that are struggling, and so that's why we need to raise money, and we need to raise awareness for this. And if you can't afford to give, or you've already given, or you're going to give, what I need you to do is share this video, because the more shares I get, the higher chance I'm going to have of getting that corporate sponsorship, which is going to make up the bulk of my fundraising total.